Quigley for President campaign.
Thanks for turning us on this week, everybody. Real estate as an asset class to invest in has had a lot of negative publicity over the last few months, over the last year. Interest rates have gotten expensive. So, doing the cash out refinancing, finding deals that make sense, paying a high interest rate has become more challenging. And so we're going to talk to a few folks on the show today who are going to talk about ways that you guys can still invest in real estate and still make a return. It's possible. It's out there. One of our guests is going to talk about how you can invest in duplexes. You can live in one side, it's called house hacking, and rent the other one out. Another one of our guests is going to talk about real estate cost segregation, which is a strategy to increase cash flow on your rental properties. And then we're going to talk about short-term rentals, which short-term rentals, I am very bullish on that strategy as an asset class if you do it right. So we're going to talk to you guys in this show about real estate and how to continue to make money in it, because I think you still can make money in real estate, even though we've got all the negative publicity. And we're going to tell you how. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to get into it. We'll see you guys in just a second.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C., run the road to the White House. Republican conservatism failed. Reagan, free trade, everybody will find a niche, failed. Infinite consumption on a finite planet was always doomed to fail. Countless small towns across America stand empty, hollowed out. Communities are losing their young to big, unsustainable cities by the millions. We will reshore Asian production. We will recreate the Shire, small towns and villages. We will make and consume local products. Just throttling back international trade saves humanity from fossil fuel suicide. Most on the right know big government is needed to solve some problems. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Find the donor box button. Team America needs your dollars. Join, and together we will make America work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
All right, welcome to the show today, everybody. My first guest on the show is a friend of mine. His name is Brad Long. He's a builder in Memphis, Tennessee. He's an investor. Brad, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you on here. How did you, from an engineer working at Kellogg's, the cereal company, how do you go from that to, building expensive, nice custom homes?
First, thanks for having me, Andrew. Glad to be here. That's a good question. I think I grew up working in construction, summers in high school, throughout college. My uncle was a contractor. I actually neighbors on both sides of me growing up were contractors that I worked for. So I grew up, in the real estate boom of the early aughts, right? Where real estate was just, getting stupid, just doubling, in a 6 months. And so I was watching, all this wealth accumulate around me, and just was something that is tangible, something you can look and see and feel. And it's just something that's always interested me. And it's been a kind of a long journey progression from rentals to flips and now new construction, but just always something that I've wanted to do. So glad that I'm doing it.
So a lot of people that watch our show, Brad, are people that want to become investors, people that are curious about real estate. So when you were at Kellogg's as an engineer, had a W-2, did you start dabbling in rental properties first, but you bought one and then kind of fell in love with it, had more opportunities come up? How did that progression?
Yeah, I think that, I think this is maybe true for you as well, Andrew, but got started at a great time in real estate, right? I mean, um, you know, we didn't own really any real estate before the crash in '08. So, you know, as, a couple young men just kind of getting our feet wet in the business world, we're seeing real estate that's just crazy cheap around us, and we started buying it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, the older generation, boomers, everybody's just still so shell shocked from '08 that they just didn't want to touch real estate.
Yeah.
So we definitely had a lot of tailwinds behind us during those years. But yeah, started probably like you did, just buying some, little more in an already depressed market, or asset class of real estate, right? Getting the best deals we could find in that, and then typically a good amount of value add, and then I think the term burr investing is kind of annoying, but that's essentially what I did, right?
Yeah,
That's
I call
essentially
it
what I
cash
did.
out refi. I know
Yeah,
nobody likes
there
to
you
use that, but that was what it was called originally when I first got into business.
Right, right. Um, I think a lot about what would I do if I was, 22 today.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I have the best answer for that because it's definitely not what I did. And
Yeah.
so it's not, I don't know this to be true, but, you know, Burr cash out in, investing, it's really difficult these days. You've got a lot of headwinds against you now, not the tailwinds that we had. So
Yeah.
I think it's still possible. I think that real estate now is more, has oscillated kind of back to the way it typically is, in that it's really great as a wealth, magnifier, or
Yeah.
a way to compound wealth, not the best way to just make your wealth from the start.
Right.
So those cash out refis probably still mean you're going to be leaving some equity in each deal now.
For sure. Yeah. With the interest rates as high as they are, you've got to have more skin in the game to make the actual cash flow numbers make sense. But I think, one of the things that you've done, which I'd love for you to talk about, is, Brad has purchased a lot of a street in Memphis, and he's torn down a lot of those dilapidated properties that he was talking about and built new builds that are duplexes. So Brad, you made a great comment. I was thumbing through, you didn't even send me the link to your listing, but I found it, and you were like, you can house hack with this property. So talk about house hacking for a minute, because I think it's a great strategy for people that want to get into the business.
Yeah. So, look, I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor, so I'm, a part of that tribe. But I struggle when folks ask me, is it a good time to buy a house right now? Because of course, the answer is it's always a good time to buy a house for some people, right? In certain situations, that it definitely makes sense to buy a house. And there's a lot of truth to the fact that, the any money that you spend renting is, essentially, all that's going away. There's also a lot of hidden costs to owning a house. But you know, and everyone's just so shocked, or not used to the fact that now owning a house is more expensive than renting. There's no rule. Guess what? There's no rule that says owning a house is cheaper than renting. In the historical average is actually, that's the case. It's owning is more expensive. So, but it's a little tough just because of what we know or what we predict that hopefully there'll be some reversion with interest rates, that it's just a great time to buy a house. But one thing I can say is that I think that house hacking, whether that's just the old school way of living in a house with some roommates, right, and kind of having them subsidize your mortgage, or whether it's what I'm trying to promote with these duplexes where you live in one side and rent out the other. I do think that I can, confidently say that now is a great time to be doing
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So, that was my strategy in pivoting more into this, more kind of the missing middle, as they call it, class of housing. And and then also, the recent FHA regulation changes that allow you to put
Oh
as
yeah.
little as 3.5% down. So I don't feel like the market's really, you know, recognized that yet. But
Tell us about that. Expand on that a little bit, Brad.
yeah, so and don't quote me, I don't have the new limits in front of me, but they did a couple things. So you can get an FHA loan now with as little as 3.5% down up to 4 units. And then also they increased the limits for each unit size. So I want to say here in Memphis, like a 4 unit, uh you can purchase up to it's either 800 or 850,000 on a 4 unit
Nice.
with an FHA loan. So, you know, a lot of that's a great option for someone to get
So
started.
prior to this rule change, you basically, if you bought a duplex and wanted to live in one side, that was considered an investment property, and you had to put, whatever, 20% down on that. So you're
No,
saying you can put what, 3% or 5% down?
yeah, I think you could still do an FHA loan, and
Okay.
but you were going to be putting at least 5% down. But the I think it's just now that you can get in it for 3.5%. But the bigger thing is increasing the limits as
Right.
well. You know, because at least here in Memphis, and I know this is different in other markets, but there's not a lot of higher end in this missing middle, this
No,
2 to 4 unit
definitely
class,
not.
right? So that's something I think our market's definitely missing that I wanted to add to that stock there. And but then with that, if before FHA increased the limits, it didn't qualify. So
Yeah. I think it's a good strategy. I mean, look, being able to house hack at all is something that is going to enable you to kind of kick off an investing career. And so there's a lot of, in Memphis and in other communities around the country. I don't know about the coasts, but I know a lot of the smaller, like Memphis, St. Louis, Kansas City. There's a lot of old zoning that was zone duplex. They've torn some of those buildings down. And if you wanted to try your hand at, building something, if you guys are out there as investors, look for zoning that is duplex and find a vacant lot, build something. I mean, I don't think you
yeah,
can go wrong right now because that's a great spot to be in. You got 2 units for the price of one, essentially.
completely agree. Completely
Well,
agree,
look,
Andrew.
Brad, I've got a couple of seconds left, so we'll really appreciate you coming on the show today, talking about some of your experience. I mean, I think being able to leverage a W-2 career into being an investor like you are and a builder is really cool. So let's do this again sometime soon, and we're going to head to a quick break. Everybody, we'll be right back.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about Biden's health. Biden has dementia. Team America needs real leadership, not party puppets. His health only gets much worse as time goes by. Biden falls up steps. His usurpers hold his hand to walk across stages. The baby ladder is needed to reach Air Force One through the luggage department. He took $50 million in bribes with his heroin and cocaine addicted son, who did these drugs in the White House. Biden's too old, too corrupt, and has been in D.C. far too long, 44 years. The extreme left, people who are unwelcome in many houses, control the government. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, find the donor box, donate what you can. Team America needs your change. Join our team. Together, we make America work for everybody.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
The legal profession is not immune to the disruptive power of artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping the way lawyers research, analyze, and manage legal matters. AI-powered legal research tools can sift through vast volumes of legal documents, statutes, and case law in seconds, providing lawyers with comprehensive insights to build their cases. In courtrooms, AI is used to manage and present digital evidence effectively. It can organize and analyze evidence, making complex cases more understandable for judges and juries. In contract review, AI quickly identifies potential risks, inconsistencies, and compliance issues in legal contracts, saving valuable time and reducing human errors. The future of law is being shaped by AI. AI is streamlining legal research, improving courtroom presentations, enhancing contract analysis, and making legal information more efficient and accessible. Data Dive, infinite insights instantly.
All right, Yona, welcome back to the show. We've got Yona Weiss back with us. He was on the show 6 months ago, and he is a cost segregation expert. And so you've got a full desk, I guess. Everybody's trying to get a lot of studies done on purchases they made in 23 before they file taxes. We might get ours done this year in April, but you probably got a lot to do. What are you kind of busy with, right out of the gates into the new year? Is it multifamily, commercial, apartments? Who's calling you right now, Yona?
Oh, you name it. You're absolutely right. This is the busiest time of the year because everyone's trying to get their cost seg study completed before their tax filing. If they're filing timely, March 15th is a big deadline for corporations and multiple member LLCs, and then the April 15th deadline is just around the corner. So yeah, we're extremely busy, but I would say a vast majority of our clients are filing on extension. Yep. Not just because they do that every year, but specifically because there is a law floating around in the Senate right now that may be passed to reinstitute 100% bonus depreciation, which would apply back to 2023. So people are just waiting on that filing extension so that they can, be clear when that does get filed.
That's actually a smart strategy that I'm ashamed I didn't think about that, but we did. We didn't buy a whole lot in 23, obviously, because the interest rate was so high. Renovated a pretty good bit, But do you feel optimistic about the Senate bill moving through right now?
I do. I do. Absolutely. Obviously, there's a lot of things in this bill. It's not just the 100% bonus depreciation. There are a lot of tax laws, the reinstituting of child tax credits and other things that are extremely beneficial to help spur the economy, which is the whole point of these tax bills.
Yep.
So I am very confident it passed. It was a bipartisan bill, passed with flying colors through the House from both sides. And so I'm pretty confident that it will get signed into law. It's just a matter. I think right now they're dealing with aid to Ukraine and Israel and things like that. So that's a big bill that's really on the table, taking up a lot of time in the Senate.
Yeah, sure. And so, for those of you guys that have not followed cost segregation, it's a process where you can accelerate depreciation on your real estate in certain buckets. Won't get into the minutia of it, but it was a declining benefit, right, Jonas? So you had 100% you could take on the bonus in 2022, 80, and then 60 this year. And so what would this bill do? It would take it to 100%, obviously in 23. Would it make it 80%? Does it still affect that? Is it still a sliding scale essentially for a number of years?
So the bill would reinstitute it to 80%, and that would apply to 23, 24, and 25. So if it will continue to slide out after that point, it hasn't been discussed. So I think that's yet to be known. However, like you're saying, it is a huge tax benefit to get these accelerated depreciation deductions. I think it was one of the main factors that helped spur the real estate economy, between 2018 and 2022.
How do you, for a layperson that, watches the show and is a real estate investor or somebody on the sidelines that just likes real estate, how does cost segregation, accelerated depreciation bonus, how does that benefit a real estate investor?
The main benefit is that it's a cash flow strategy. Okay. So everyone knows that income tax is the biggest expense that any individual or business has. And so if you're able to reduce your income tax liability, and that's exactly what cost segregation does, then you have more cash flow to reinvest. And so in an environment where you have opportunities to buy properties, I think it's an incredible strategy to have more cash flow to then go ahead and redeploy, reinvest, create more wealth with that while, in the meantime, not paying, little to no income tax.
Right. But that really, from a real estate professional status, it's important to have that, right? Because if you're not a real estate professional, you can't take the active loss against active income. It's passive. What types of, for the non-real estate investor, high net worth individual, doctor, attorney that's investing in real estate, what types of passive incomes or passive income streams would a cost segregation study benefit on from a loss perspective?
So the IRS only defines passive income as rental income. There are some other passive business interests, not including stocks, but if you actually own a portion of a business but are just a passive investor in it, that can be considered passive income. Royalties is the other one. But I think there's another really important note, and I don't remember if we spoke about this last time on the show, but there's something called the short-term rental loophole. Yep. And essentially what this says is that you don't have to necessarily be a real estate professional and get that benefit of using the depreciation to offset your active income. First of all, if your spouse is a real estate professional, that also works. But there's this thing called the short-term. If you own a short-term rental, okay, think about like an Airbnb property where the average stay is less than 7 days, and you self-manage it, yep, you then turn the income from that property into active income, which means you can use that against your W-2, which is something that is almost impossible with any other type of real estate.
That's interesting. So is it hard to prove? I mean, is it hard to, self-manage? I guess it's like, it would be a little bit of a challenge. So you can't hire a management company. You literally have to go in there and do the cleaning and all that kind of stuff yourself, huh?
You don't have to do the cleaning yourself, no, but you do have to manage it. Meaning, yes, you cannot have a property manager or someone managing it, but doing it even remotely. I have hundreds of clients that do this. In fact, it's really become a trend over the past few years of people doing this. And besides for the setup process, which is obviously takes a lot of time, acquiring it and setting up systems. Yeah. Once you have that in place, finding a cleaner, finding a maintenance person, the clients that I've worked with have spent about a half an hour a week managing their short-term rentals. So it's definitely doable, even if you have a full-time job.
So if you have one short-term rental and you bought a couple of long-term rentals, can you cost segregate all three of those and get the benefit, or is it only on the short-term rental that the loophole applies to?
It only applies to the short-term rentals. The long-term rentals will still have the limitation that the depreciation from that can only offset passive income.
Okay. What if somebody converts their primary residence into a short-term rental or a long-term rental? Can they run a cost segregation study when they've made that conversion and moved out?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The only difference with converting a property as opposed to just buying one outright is that the depreciation basis, meaning the amount that you can take as depreciation over that 39 or 27 and a half year period and then cost segregate, is based on the original purchase price. Gotcha. So that sometimes can be prohibitive if you bought a property a long time ago and then moved out. It's a great strategy in general. However, you just want to make sure that there's enough basis, there's enough that can be actually depreciated.
Makes sense. And then for somebody that's going to take, if they accelerate all this depreciation and take it, first year, if they sell that property, how do you suggest, not paying that recapture tax back? Because the government's going to come back and take some of that depreciation that you took. They're going to ask for the revenue back, right? So how do you defer that, I guess?
Yeah. So, depreciation recapture tax is a real thing and should be obviously worked into your business plan, how long you plan on holding the property. But there are, like you mentioned, there are ways to defer or even completely offset or eliminate that tax upon the sale. One strategy is through a 1031 exchange. Obviously, we're not going to get into that, but that is a way to not only defer capital gain tax by buying a new property when you sell one, it also defers that depreciation recapture tax. There's another investment strategy called opportunity zones. And this is an awesome, also a new law that was passed in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act back in 2017. And essentially what this says is that there are certain areas in the country that are opportunity zones, essentially areas that need more development, that are incentivized to redevelop those properties. In return, the investors have a deferment of capital gain tax and as well as depreciation recapture tax as well. And in fact, if held for a certain period of time, it can actually eliminate that recapture tax, not just defer it. I think the only, not the only, but the main way to offset, again, making sure your business plan is set up soundly from the beginning, is if you acquire a property in the year that you sell, and that new property has enough depreciation or losses from cost seg, those losses can then be used to offset the gain from the sale of the first property. So not only does that, again, offset the capital gain, it can offset that recapture tax. So there are ways not only to defer it, but also to completely eliminate that.
Nice. Well, it's 10 minutes has flown by. We could talk for another 40 about this, but we don't have the time. But for the folks that have not looked into cost segregation that are watching the show, look, everybody, I think Yona is one of the smartest people in this field that's out there. How do people get in touch with you?
I'm active on all the social media platforms, so you can just find me, Yona Weiss, or you can go to yonaweiss.com right there up on the page, and feel free to reach out. We offer a free estimate, a free feasibility analysis for any property.
There we go. And look, everybody, for somebody who owns a couple hundred, single family rental properties, we are active in cost segregation. It's a massive, as Yona said, tax strategy for cash flow. You guys ought to look into it. So until next time, Yona, appreciate it. We'll be back from a break in just a couple of minutes, everybody.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about store closures and the massive theft going on across the country. The wife and I owned a dozen retail stores, a production workshop, manufacturing business, a wholesale business, a craft show business. And when I was a young man, I lived in East Asia for 10 years working in the manufacturing world. The real problem today is both inflation and we have lost millions of mom and pop businesses. The middle class has been decimated. We have too much business concentration in the hands of big box stores. This is true with the small family farms as well. America is losing its resiliency. We are living on borrowed time as something like war or climate impacts will push America into near or quasi-near anarchy. Let's rebuild the American cottage industry. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, donate what you can, join Team America, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
My name is Andrew Glisson. Over the past 4 years, I've built a portfolio of over 200 single-family rental properties that generate over $200,000 a month in income. I've put together a 6-step formula to help you consistently acquire rental properties that cash flow $250 or more a month and have $30,000 or more of equity built into them. This includes starting right, becoming bankable, buying right, renovating right, exit strategies, property management, and many more modules. Best of all, if you're not totally blown away by the content, we offer a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If you're ready to build generational wealth for you and your family, look me up at sfruniversity.com.
Shannon St. Val, welcome back to the show. You're in the Northeast in New York. Is it snowing on you right there? I saw a news report that you guys were supposed to get 8 inches of snow or something like that.
Yeah, it was snowing all day yesterday, but fortunately it was just like a quick storm, and so we're out of it now. So,
Perfect.
but it's always a challenge with your short-term rentals to get your maintenance people out there to pick up the snow so you don't have any liability risk with falls. So yes.
Smart. I mean, some of the stuff we don't have to deal with in the South is shoveling sidewalks. So I don't envy the maintenance people. That is not something I want to ever have to do. But speaking of which, I wanted to talk to you on the show today a little bit about, cleaning and maintenance. I mean, so it's a kind of a timely topic, but what, from a cleaning perspective, this is something that we haven't talked about yet with you on the show. Do you have some sort of a standards checklist that, every time a guest checks out and somebody new checks in, your team goes in to make sure that everything's the same? How do you manage that?
Yeah, expectations have changed a lot with short-term rentals. I feel like guests are expecting it to be mini hotels, and that's the level that you need to, somewhat keep it at. So we definitely have checklists, and we, for most of our operations, we have in-house cleaners that we train, but I always recommend hosts to have professional services that you do use, but to have a checklist so to make sure that everything is consistent, the quality is there. And then the other thing is to have a routine process to inspect. So to actually check the cleanings to ensure that it's actually been done correctly. And I would say the big thing that you find is that regular cleanings are different than like a regular home cleaning that you have a cleaning company come in for versus an Airbnb cleaner is different. Like the way you lay out the towels, what you need to put out, how you lay there's just different. It's a different way. It's a different cleaning.
Yeah, it is a hospitality, kind of like a Class A hotel experience, right? You got to put everything out for people. What kind of checklist do you use? Is it a paper checklist or is it an app?
So we don't use an app because we found it a little bit more challenging, but there are some really cool cleaning apps that you can leverage. We use a form, and because we work with the same cleaners over and over again, we post a form inside like a cleaning closet that's locked, and then they report any issues. And we have an app actually for the schedule, but they will report any issues and take pictures to document any issues. But and then we have someone do the check so we can give them feedback. We also give the cleaners feedback from the guest reviews. So I think it's really important for hosts to share those cleaning feedback to your cleaners so they know what the guests said about their work too.
Right. So you actually inspect after every single turn?
No, not after every single turn. For some of the big houses, like really big, you're talking about the homes in the Hamptons and Martha's Vineyard. In some cases, you should and you can. It depends on how good your cleaners are, but we tend to inspect about once a month for most of our properties. But there should, as hosts, I just recommend you have some type of quality process, or quality control where you're doing some type of inspections with the clean.
For long-term rentals, it's really important to do a move-in inspection, a move-out inspection, you take lots of pictures, you check a lot of boxes, you analyze the whole thing because you're going against a security deposit. Is that necessary in short-term rentals? Do you do that, or is that really too much work, and it's completely different from a cleaning standpoint?
You should
Inspection.
definitely still have that same process. So even though you're not doing a check, it every single time a new tenant comes in, you should still create a maintenance schedule where you're doing your routine maintenance checks and checking if there's, AC, plumbing, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is being proactive instead of reactive. So
Right.
you know that the carpet over time, you can't just have a carpet forever, right? You're going to
Right.
have to change it. So it's those checks, the same thing you would do if you were it's a long-term rental. You have to paint every 2 to 3 years. There's certain things you need to do, and the standard is a little bit higher. So I would say even more so, definitely more being proactive on the maintenance checks is a bigger deal for short term as opposed to long term.
And I've kind of found that short-term rentals, a lot of owners just look at the hospitality side, right? And it's the guest engagement, the 5-star reviews. But you brought up a good point. I mean, maintenance goes a long way in these properties. Doorknobs get loose, shower, door handles and towel racks. So what kind of process do you go through to make sure that stuff for the owner, right? Or for your own properties? I mean, what does that, like, the process look like in the interval that you check those things?
Yeah. So depending on the property, we have caretakers or maintenance. In some of the bigger homes, we have like caretakers for the homes. And then for some of the properties, we just have a maintenance person you do quarterly or monthly checks depending on the frequency of how often guests are coming in, and we make them document it. We also have like checklists based on the season. Like, okay, during the fall, we need to clean out the gutters. We need to do the lawn. We need to pull in the outdoor furniture. So all those checks and keeping record of that is extremely important. And it's, so we're being held accountable to the owners and ensuring that there's, we're losing anything or falling by the wayside, because it can totally impact your reviews.
Massively. So I guess the owners are really hiring you guys to manage every single bit of that then. So you take it on as, we're going to manage the hospitality side of the business and the maintenance side. So you're really doing everything, one-stop shop, sounds like.
Well, because we're property managers. So we're managers. We don't actually do the maintenance. So we'll coordinate with their maintenance person. And that's the same, like so instead of you going to go run out to go find your own maintenance person, working with the manager, they'll help coordinate that and quarterback those, help make those decisions. So, yeah.
Yeah. And do you find that, what are some of, out of curiosity, what are some of the proactive things that you could get ahead of that you seem to always run into on, maintenance issues?
Wear and tear on, like I said, carpet, painting that you should just go ahead and just proactively do. Changing out light bulbs. Surprisingly, like we know, like you're just checking if the light bulbs are being done.
Yeah.
Or change out, then you get there and the guests like, there's no light, and then they think it's an electrical issue, and come to find out, just a light bulb needed to be changed out.
That's
also
funny.
What's interesting is, like, I think nowadays furniture is not as sturdy as it used to be. So like the stools will get loose. You just have to tighten up the stools, and those are just basic maintenance things that you just need to do. Yeah.
Is there more wear on furniture in short-term rentals? I mean, do you have a plan? Like every 10 years we're trashing all the stuff and putting new stuff in. Is it that often?
Not okay. And this is challenging because every furniture has a different life, and
That's true.
We just recommend that the owners every year, we recommend that they do a little refresh, on some part of the house.
Right.
So you're not having to do it all at once. And then
Smart.
about every 3 years, we'll do updated photos, so we can kind of, at least so the photos are consistent with the change of the furniture and what's, but you should definitely, as a host or a homeowner, go through and kind of update some of the furniture, because like any home, you're going to have, the basic, things are going to break. The table's not going to last forever.
Yep.
So unfortunately, our Walmart or Wayfair, IKEA stuff sometimes may not always be ideal for Airbnbs. And we've learned that with the bed. So pro tip, some of those Wayfair, some of the beds with the wooden slats,
Not a good idea.
they break. So you may need some metal slacks because people are, using the bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Certain things you need to upgrade, have something sturdy, and that's one of them. Are there any sort of trends that you find guests like one thing that in particular that you could think of that guests always identify as like, thanks for having this? I mean, obviously coffee would be one, but like some sort of amenity or something you provide. Is there anything that guests seem to gravitate around from a what you give them standpoint?
We used to do like gift bags and stuff, and that's always a thing. But the coffee is always coffee, tea is always provided, and then we provide high quality shampoo, body wash and conditioners. They appreciate that, and actually, people comment on the towels. People
Okay.
care about towels. You got a big guy and you use the little cheap thin towels.
Yeah,
It makes a difference.
it does make a difference.
So your sheets and your towels could really make a big difference when it comes to guests delighting a guest.
And I guess my final question, because I'm running out of time again. Obviously, it happens fast, but a lot of people care about eco-friendly and sustainable things. Every single hotel you go into, they say throw your towel over the shower rack if you don't want us to wash it. Help us protect the environment. How do you duplicate or emulate that in the short-term rental space?
Yeah, was it in 2022, Booking.com had a survey that said that 76% of travelers intend to book sustainable accommodations.
Wow.
And they're willing to pay more for it. So I was shocked at the number. I thought it was wrong. I actually had to Google it because it was so shocking that 76% of people that it matters. And so when I first heard the sustainable, eco-friendly term, I was thinking, oh, it's going to cost more. And what you realize is that it actually doesn't necessarily cost more. So, for example, we now use more eco-friendly, sustainable products like our body wash. We have a company called Public Good that we use, and they have wholesale prices for Host. And the branding looks great, so that makes a big difference. We also now have, we encourage the owners when we're replacing appliances to have the energy efficient appliance, fixed light fixtures, and also to help save money, right? From a host perspective, you can implement the low flow faucets and showers, and you can, promote that as like, water saving, energy saving, and then pushing guests to recycle. And we have signs up in the property to kind of help encourage that and kind of, promote the whole eco-friendly, sustainable trend now. And if 76% of people are willing to pay more, let's let them do it. So put it in your listing.
I'll buy into that strategy. And by the way, I mean, if you own Airbnbs, if you implement some of those sustainable and eco strategies, it's going to save you on your utility bill, which you're paying for, right? As an owner. So, look, Shannon, it's always a fun time to have you on. We appreciate the time, and we're actually having you on again next week. So we'll see you then, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Michelle Merhar. You may remember me from the morning news. I'd like to tell you how getting data and documents into action fast gives you a competitive edge. Digital-first thinking to manage document workflows efficiently are giving all organizations a competitive edge. In fact, digital document automation is an essential process, helping us to become more profitable and to compete. By making any process paperless with secure automation, decisions can be made efficiently, virtually from anywhere. You'll be able to find and share documents securely in seconds. Your staff will be empowered by making optimal use of every office hour. And by the way, the size of your organization doesn't matter. Precision Products has been helping organizations for more than 30 years with paper to digital processes, including scanning systems for any document to premises and cloud document management systems. We make it easy and scalable for your business process needs from the office or other locations, even mobile devices. Contact us to see how we can help your organization succeed. Contact Will Waterall direct at 713-446-5939 and visit us on the web at precisionproductsinc.com.
The legal profession is not immune to the disruptive power of artificial intelligence. AI is reshaping the way lawyers research, analyze, and manage legal matters. AI-powered legal research tools can sift through vast volumes of legal documents, statutes, and case law in seconds, providing lawyers with comprehensive insights to build their cases. In courtrooms, AI is used to manage and present digital evidence effectively. It can organize and analyze evidence, making complex cases more understandable for judges and juries. In contract review, AI quickly identifies potential risks, inconsistencies, and compliance issues in legal contracts, saving valuable time and reducing human errors. The future of law is being shaped by AI. AI is streamlining legal research, improving courtroom presentations, enhancing contract analysis, and making legal information more efficient and accessible. Data Dive, infinite insights instantly.
All right, everybody, we've got something a little bit unique for you guys this week. I'm welcoming to the show a first-time guest, Vincent Glisson. Hopefully I pronounced your last name right. I just asked you, and hopefully I did that right. But look, everybody, Vincent is a sales manager with the largest real estate company in Dubai. And so he is working with investors from all over the globe to invest in real estate in Dubai. He's also working with people that live there, obviously, that are buying and leasing real estate. First of all, Vincent, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on at 9 o'clock at night where you're at. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Andy. I'm very excited, and thank you for having me on your show. I'm
Absolutely.
really excited to find goodbye to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I've got some questions here that I'd like to ask you, but before we kind of like jump into what my questions are, I would just like to hear from you. A lot of our real estate, viewers are interested in real estate. They either own single-family homes that they live in that are watching the show, or they're investors in all types of real estate. I mean, we have people that invest in industrial, commercial, single-family residential apartment complexes. So just talk to us about, the real estate market in Dubai. Is it all brand new? What are people buying? How much money do you have to get involved? I'm just going to turn it right over to you.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because obviously, looking at Dubai from the US, you might look at it as a brand new, everything is brand new. But the reality of it is that, yes, it's a brand new city, but we also have some communities that have been established for over 10 to 15 years. And in terms of investors, as you mentioned, we have investors coming from all over the world. And in terms of the price per square footage, if we compare it to bigger cities like London or Washington or New York, we're still fairly cheaper than this very big cities in the world.
How do you price? So Dubai real estate, if you're looking at somebody wants to come in and buy a condo in a nice building, I guess the rule of thumb for the United States investors are you really need to make 1% in rent for of the purchase price. Is it similar in Dubai? Can you achieve that if you spend X on acquiring the asset? Can you get 1% from a rental price per month?
Well, all I can tell you is that I have clients where their return on investment on a rent would be around 5%. And they would complain to me because they want more. Dubai is a very speculative market in terms of buying and putting on rent. 5% is some sort of average for a long-term rent. In certain areas, you can achieve a little bit more. And obviously, if you use the short rental business like Airbnb, you can inspire to achieve even 10% return on your purchase price.
Interesting. How does the short-term rental business work in Dubai? Is it heavily regulated, or is it pretty easy to set up a short-term rental Airbnb?
I know that there's some cities or countries where they give you some sort of cap in terms of how many days you can rent the property for throughout the year. There is no such regulation in Dubai. You can rent it throughout the year. You have holiday management companies that will take care of everything A to Z, from cleaning, check-in, check-out, and everything. They usually take on average 20% of the profit, where you keep 80% of it, and they basically do absolutely everything for you.
Yep. What is how has the real estate market fared over the last, five years in Dubai? Has it appreciated a lot? Is it a cool market now? Is it a hot market now? What are the market dynamics there?
Well, the market has been changing a lot. Every year it changes drastically, considering what is happening all around the world. What I always say is that a few years ago, whenever the property market was crashing all over the world, it was happening the same in Dubai. But right now, Dubai has positioned itself as this safe haven, and with this goal of making the market so much more transparent and regulated, it's attracting many more high net individual and many more investors from Europe and all around the world.
That's interesting. So would you consider most of the sales that you do, are they residential sales?
Yeah, I focus on secondary market, and it's mostly residential. Yes. The main sales here, it's either off plan, so when you buy directly from a developer, or you can buy secondary market, so you buy from a person that has bought from the developer. Obviously, when you buy off plan, you have a very convenient payment plan with the developer. In most cases, you have a payment plan until handover, so until you get keys, and you also have a post-handover payment plan, up to 5 years post-handover payment plan. So these are installments that you effectively pay directly to the developer, free of interest. Or you have the secondary market, when you are taking over the existing payment plan from the previous owner, and you buy a property that is probably close to completion or completed.
How does somebody, that lives in the States, if they want to buy $1 million condo in Dubai, do they engage a local lender in Dubai, or do they use a lender internationally?
So in most cases, we don't use mortgages as much as they do it abroad, especially because of the easy payment plan that the developers will give you, that will allow you to buy without paying interest to the bank. But if you really want to use a lender, you want to buy with a mortgage, then you can use the mortgage provider here in Dubai, and you can get a mortgage as a foreign buyer. Obviously, the interest rate is not as good as if you're residents, but it's still doable.
What would the term look like for an international investor, like the term, the rate, interest rate on a mortgage in Dubai?
Yeah, it can vary between 4 to 6%. It depends whether you're self-employed or if you are employed by a company. It all depends on your age, your nationality, many factors, but it's usually between 4 to 6%.
Okay. And for a residential property, are these 30-year mortgages? Are they 20? What does the term look like?
Yeah, it's around 30 to 35 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. And what's the development trend in Dubai? Is it expanding? Is the city expanding, or are they knocking down lower density buildings and building higher density buildings?
So there's a big trend going on for the past few years. Whereas before we were building towers, so you would invest in a tower. Right now we invest and we believe in communities. So there are big developers that will build proper communities with shops, restaurants, bars, and everything. So we no longer sell towers and buildings; we sell communities.
Nice. We've only got a couple minutes left, but I saw a news article the other day that they were auctioning off a license plate for several $1 million, because the license plate had a low digit on there. What's the license plate issue in Dubai? Why are they so expensive?
Well, in a city where you drive around and most people drive Lamborghinis and Ferrari, the only way for high net individuals to differentiate themselves to other high net individuals is number plates. So they will fight with each other for whoever has the smallest digit number plate, which is funny, I think.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, everybody, for those of you watching, it can be several $1 million. I have a friend of mine that has a house in Dubai, has a Lamborghini, and I think his license plate number is like 36 or something like that. It's $1 million license plate. I mean, it's a different situation. It's very funny. Well, look, Vincent, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I didn't really hit like all the bullet points that I had, but it's a super interesting market. I'd love to have you back on the show. And I think for those of you guys that are on social media, you should follow Vincent because he's got a great social media platform. He's just showing beautiful places, and Dubai is a beautiful city. So Vincent, where should people, what's your Instagram handle so people can find you?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Vincent Beachfront, and I tend to be as active as possible there. I'm not the usual real estate agent that would just talk about serious stuff and serious real estate. I believe in being a little bit funny with my content, so I tend to mix funny content with professional content. So yeah, the best way to find me is through my Instagram.
Love it. Vincent, thanks again. We'll see you again soon, and we'll be right back, everybody. I'm going to head to just a quick break, and we'll be with our last guest.
Thank you, Andrew.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Today, we're going to talk about a potential Quigley administration, the cabinet. What is it going to look like? It's got 25 members, and we're going to staff those members from the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, independents, and other third parties across America. All of our team players are going to be highly analytical, top problem solvers. They're going to be well educated, and they're going to have lived a life in the trenches. We don't want drama. We want the best possible roster that Team America can create. You know, defense and related departments and agencies, of course, are going to be recruited from within. Why? Because they need highly specialized knowledge. All are welcome to join Team America. All are welcome at our table. You know, a large percentage of the senior executive service positions we're going to convert to internships for high school seniors and college students. Join Team America. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com. Donate what you can, and together we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
All right, everybody, that's a wrap for this week. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We're gonna continue to bring you guys folks from all over the world in the real estate business. It's a real estate show. Dubai was interesting, obviously. It was great to talk to Vincent, and our research team is hot on the trail to talk to other people from other countries around the world about real estate, about real estate investing. So we're going to bring you a lot of different topics this year on the show. Look, see you guys next Thursday, 5 o'clock, Now Media TV. Until then, we'll see you then.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Hi, folks. Robert Quigley here, America's Independent, Washington, D.C. We're on the road to the White House. Tyrannies of the extreme must end. Americans firmly believe that the needs of the many must outweigh the needs of the few. What folks do in their bedrooms and the lifestyles they choose are protected legal rights. However, the other 99.9999% of Americans have a legal right to be free from those choices. Adolescence is tough, but it is a crime to interfere with the normal and usual course of nature, childhood development. Schools must operate within the parents' reasonable expectations. Most left-leaning folks are moderates. They want the government to have the backs of all Americans. Go to robertquigleyforpresident.com, find the donor box button. Team America needs your dollars. Together, we will make it work for all of us.
Paid for and approved by the Robert Quigley for President campaign.
These are the top 3 questions I get from people about investing in real estate. How much money do I need to get to the next level? How do I find good properties to invest in?
Can I even make money in this business when interest rates are so high? I answer these questions and many more in my online course, SFR University, where I show you the strategy that I used to build a multi-million-dollar real estate business in 4 years from scratch. Whether you're just starting out or someone who's looking to scale, this course will have something for you. Join us at sfruniversity.com. See you in the course.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.